Good morning or good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another AMA. Happy Tuesday. I hope everybody is having a wonderful week. We just kicked off a few minutes late this morning, but I hope you all can join us. Welcome. We are going to do some Revaluate 101 today. So we're going to go over all the most common questions that we are asked through the chat, through emails, through onboarding. Anytime people come to us with questions, we compiled the most common list, and we're going to go at it today. We're going to kind of grill our experts here, Ian and Ryan. Thank you for joining us this morning. Excited to give the audience some of our best practices. So we thought maybe we'd kick off just a little bit. We have an exciting trip that Ryan is going on. If you want to plug our event coming up this week, Ryan.
Yeah, so we are going to be sponsoring the Hatch Coaching Summit in Fargo, North Dakota this week with Eric Hatch and Robbie Trefethrin and their Hatch Coaching Group. We're really excited to be attending and just meeting teams and people that use their services from their coaching and their technology suite of services. We're hopeful that I'm working with the Hatch team on developing some workflows and things for utilization with Revaluate services. So we're looking forward to that as well.
Awesome. If you will be at this summit this week, let us know. Let Ryan know. He would love to meet up and chat with you. But let's get right into the questions this morning. So the first question we have is, what is the best way to build a farm of sellers? I have enough buyers. I just want sellers. What is your recommendation? Who wants to go first?
Ian, you want to go first or you want me to?
Go for it.
All right. So, yeah, we do get asked this question a lot. How do I, target sellers? Obviously, in today's market, it's as much as it may be starting to cool down, it is still very listing starved, and so obviously that's a very important thing for conducting your business. We do offer the Reside solution as far as helping to list build, but really ultimately it's going to be whatever's the best and most cost-effective way for you to find the list of the contact information for the people inside of your farming area that you're looking to target. As far as selecting the areas that you want to target, a lot of people will start by looking around places that they've recently listed or sold a home and do like a radius around a listed or sold home, circle prospecting style. Or a neighborhood or an area that you've been working in for a while, or one that you're looking to expand into. We can assist with identifying the list and then monitoring that list to provide the insights that we provide. We just did that 3-part blog series on mindset and strategies for helping to kind of implement on that list. But there's a lot of different solutions and tools out there that can help with that. But when it comes to identifying and kind of making more efficient your efforts within that farm, Reside is a great solution for helping with that. Or, like I said, whatever is the most cost-effective way for you to get the contact information is step one. We offer Reside to help people who don't have their own resources in that department. But if you have your own resources, we can still help with a reveal dashboard for those that do.
Great. Anything you want to add to that, Ian, or do you want us to jump into the next question?
Not really too much. I would just say, this isn't necessarily an answer to that question, but it's important to always keep a wide variety of clients, whether they be buyers, sellers, etc. I'm not saying ignore the sellers you're trying to get seller leads. I get each market fluctuates. You want what's hot at that time, but don't completely forget about, the other types of leads. Having that funnel with a lot of variety and a lot of diversity, I think helps you be future-proof. No matter what the market does, you're always prepared and ready.
Self-sustaining. Yeah. If they're a buyer today, they could be a seller tomorrow. Yep. So then once we've built this list, one of the most common questions we get, we've got this list, we got our account together. How soon should I start calling these contacts?
Yesterday would be the best day, but since we don't have that, so the answer is different based on the database you've built. So if this is your contacts, your sphere, people you've met with previously, people I think it's great to reach out to them right away, because it's a lot easier for you to say, hey, how you been doing? Let's have a cup of coffee and catch up, because you can actually find out right from the source what life event has caused their score to be triggered at this point. Now, let's say we're building a database for you. Let's say this database we built for you has people that you don't know from Adam. These are completely new contacts. Now, I never tell people don't do X, don't do Y, because some people are really good at, for instance, cold calling. They could pick up a phone, cold call, and they could call someone on the DNC list and still get their business. They're just that good at phone calls, right? So I would never say don't do this. But with someone who doesn't call you from Adam, I wouldn't recommend right when they come in as a very likely mover, calling them up and saying, "Hey, my computer said you're likely to move. What's going on?" Because that's going to leave a pretty sour taste, pretty awkward taste, unless you're really good at conveying that message. I think that's where it becomes especially important for the retargeting, for kind of laying that foundation of showing up on their Facebook ads, showing up in their email, maybe showing up with a text so they see your name, start to associate that together. Then that call is a little less, it's a little less cold.
Yeah. Yeah. So besides calling, what is the best way to contact these very likely movers? Is that what you'd recommend, is calling, or do you have another method?
I think, honestly, whatever somebody's comfortable with, and then forcing yourself outside of your comfort zone. If you're using Revaluate data, then you already understand the importance of leveraging insights and leveraging technology. But we're not the piece of the puzzle that's going to do the job for you. We're the piece of the puzzle that's going to help you do the job. So if all you're using is Revaluate, then you better get really good at writing postcards and making phone calls, because what else is there? But if you're using some of the integrated partners that we have, or any of the solutions that are out there that we can integrate with Zapier, you can automate a lot of the outreach efforts that can make it so that you're persistent and consistently reaching out to people. The important part, and the important difference between a very likely mover and a lead, is that a lead has raised their hand, and a very likely mover is somebody who is exhibiting behaviors that are in alignment with people who are going to be moving. So you need to get them to raise their hand. So when you're reaching out to people, make the phone call. When's the right time was the last question. They're not like leads where you need to get to them in 30 seconds or they're going to die. But that doesn't mean you should wait a month or two. It means you should reach out. And when that first reach out doesn't reach out, don't reach out looking for a listing your first time. Reach out looking to make a connection, and then nurture. This is not a hit it and quit it game. This is career building. This is building a database. This is finding the opportunities. So your first communication isn't always or even often going to be the one that gets you the deal. It's going to be the one that starts the dialogue. And then if you leverage technology the right way and have drip campaigns, retargeting, if you nurture and stay top of mind and consistently and persistently reach out to them, that's where your opportunity comes from, because you are taking the role of the lead generation company. Rather than having someone generate the lead for you, you're building a system that will generate leads forever for you. So using as many different types of communication as possible in a cadence that makes sense, that can adapt and adjust based on the insights that we provide, is the way to be the most successful.
That's great information. And you really encompassed that question, but you also encompassed the next question. And I know that Ian had something he wanted to touch on with that, and we can kind of circle and bring it all together. But I called my very likely movers, and they said they don't want to move. Now what do I do?
Quit. It's over. Everything's bad. No, I mean that's okay. I mean that is perfectly okay. Call them tomorrow. No, I mean maybe don't call them tomorrow. But the point being, that's totally fine. You've set that initial reaction. You felt out where they're at. If you had called them and they said, "Yeah, we're actually starting to look," okay, now you know they're farther down the funnel. If they say, "I'm not moving right now," doesn't mean they're not moving in the next 6 months. That's not what that means at all. That means you're going to have to nurture that lead a little bit more. You're going to have to send those cool emails with the top 5 reasons why people move, and those other catchy articles that people like to send in newsletters to keep their attention. it definitely doesn't disqualify them by any means. It just kind of gives you a heads up where they're at in the funnel, so you know what angle they need to be worked from. Do you need to nurture them from the start? Do you need to already start showing them listings? Where are they at?
And really make sure you're taking notes there. You really want to make sure so that the next time you contact them, you can refer back to those notes and move forward instead of going backwards. And that's also a great topic to kind of circle back. Chelsea jumped on AMA a couple weeks ago, and she went over all of the different objection handling. And so this question really leads right into that too. So if you're looking for more ways to handle those objections, that's a great AMA to watch. She really goes over the basics of that and does a great job. And lots of great examples there. And her contact information is in there as well. So if you have more questions and you have other objections you've been given, feel free to reach out to her or to us. We would love to help with that. So let's move on to the next question. Let's move on from our very, very likely movers and move on to our engaged movers. I've gotten a lot of questions around what is the best messaging or content for our engaged movers. So just to recap for anybody that doesn't remember, our engaged movers scored 40 to 80, and they're starting to show signs of life. So they're not a very likely mover yet, but they're not a not engaged mover. So what would be the best practice for messaging for our engaged movers?
Yeah, I've found through consulting with people who've had successes with different methods using our data that longer cycle messaging tends to be more effective with people in the engaged mover category. Stuff that you would traditionally use for someone who tells you, oh, I'm not going to be moving until next year. You know, not everybody has that type of messaging because some people are very just, quick hit and trying to get the deal right now. But if you have ever put together a long cycle campaign with longer cycle touch points, that's what you're going to want to use with the engaged movers, because the fact of the matter is they're showing these signs that sometime in the slightly more distant future, they're going to be moving in that direction. They're going to mature at some point. So if you don't have an automated system for increasing the cadence when they go into that very likely mover, you don't want to miss those opportunities. The other thing is too, some of those people may move quicker than what their data is showing. So being top of mind, just not beating them over the head with list your house today messaging is the right approach. Whether it's credit improvement, home improvement, the type of stuff that somebody who is thinking about moving but needs some more time to prepare would benefit from. It's adding value to their scenario. And with the very likely movers, 5 more seconds on the last question too is just, I call it the Home Depot effect, where I go to Home Depot probably once every couple of weeks to pick something up. I never know where that thing is in the store ever until I'm in the store. I walk in the front door. There's a really nice lady or guy standing at the front door every time, says, hey, how are you today? Can I help you? And every single time I'm like, nah, I'm all set. Thank you very much. And I take a hard left into the garden section, regardless of what I'm looking for. I always, for whatever reason, end up in the garden section first. I'm like, walk past the grills and the riding mowers, and I don't need a riding mower or a grill. It's just like, it's my habit. People don't like being interrupted unless there's a good reason, and people don't like to feel like they need help. That doesn't mean they don't need help. It just means that the first time you ask them isn't going to be the time they say yes. It's usually the person when I'm standing there looking completely lost in the nails aisle and I'm looking for a screw that walks by and ignores me, that I have to be like, hey, can you help me real quick? I need this. But every once in a while, there'll be somebody who like sees me looking completely lost. Is like, hey, do you need help with something? And those are the people who I end up taking the help from. It's not the first. It's usually the second or third. So don't get discouraged when you call somebody who's a very likely mover and they say, well, how'd you get this information? Or buzz off, or I'm not moving. Because it could very well just be they're having a bad day, or they're just, they're not going to tell a complete stranger what's going on. You become less of a stranger with every communication. I think they say most sales happen after the 6th communication. So be persistent.
That was such a good quote. Less of a stranger with every communication. That was good. Did you steal that? Or did you coin that yourself, sir?
That one was off the top. So
I like it a lot. That was good. Did you have anything you wanted to add to that, Ian, before we move along?
He covered that really good. So,
I have another. This one we get asked quite a bit, and I know that Ian loves to cover this. He has such good answers for this question. I had some emails bounce. You guys provided us a reside list of some emails, and I had about 10 or 12 of those emails bounce back. Why would that be? How do you know they're a very likely mover if their emails are bouncing?
It's magic. Think about it in this way, in like a personal use case. A lot of us have emails that we either don't use, or heck, they may even be our spam emails. I have one email that I use to make accounts for various websites, newsletters, an email where I don't really send too many important messages to. In fact, I don't even access that email because it just gets all those marketing newsletter emails, etc. Why do I do that? Well, that's because I still want to be able to log into these different accounts, but I don't want to have to worry about the emails that are coming to it. I'm not the only person that does that. People have old emails that they use to access these websites all the time, especially when you see someone's Revaluate email as, like, let's say Hotmail or, at AOL, some of the older domains. Some people do use those domains still, but that's where you see a lot of the older ones where they really don't access them anymore. I couldn't even tell you the last time I logged into Hotmail, but I still use the email to have stuff sent to it. And it's attached to a few random websites like Home Depot, for instance. And that would be critical information to have. So there is still data attached to the emails, regardless of whether or not it is bouncing. Because if people are logging in using them as, identifiers, we're still going to get data on them.
Yep. So if I can't email them, so Ian, what would I do to contact them?
Knock on their door until they answer.
Show up with a bread basket.
Yep. Show up with a fruitcake. Tell them you're not leaving until they sign. No, we heard Ryan talk already about a lot of the great ways to be reaching out. I think one thing we try to communicate with people is don't overcomplicate this. If we are looking at your business as here's how it started before Revaluate, just place Revaluate inside what you're already doing. So if you were sending out postcards once a month and doing random phone drops, text drops, keep doing that. Absolutely keep doing that. Don't just throw your cadence out the window, but instead of taking your database of thousands of people and trying to sift through and find the good, we're going to put you in front of those contacts from the start. Your messages are going to be a lot more effective and a lot more applicable earlier in the process.
Awesome. Thank you, Ian. Let's move on to, should I delete my not engaged movers and upload new contacts?
No.
Why?
No, this is, the simple answer is you never know when someone's going to move. We have no way of knowing a life event is going to happen. We predict them once we see the data, but we can't say at this exact moment this is when it's going to happen. So someone could be scoring low today and then wake up tomorrow and something's occurred, the data caught it. Now they're a very likely mover. Every day we're gathering more data on those contacts and we learn a little bit more. I like to use the analogy of, I send my daughter to preschool and she started to learn her ABCs. Okay, she's learned a ton of information in the past couple of weeks. Do I stop sending her because now she's a lot smarter? No, I want her to take those letters and learn how to make words. And I want her to take the words and make sentences and use sentences and write novels. I want her to take the education and knowledge she has and apply it to an even deeper knowledge. And our algorithms will do exactly that. It is a machine learning algorithm. The more data we're putting into it, the smarter it gets. We continue to see that happening. The longer you monitor these contacts, the more likely we are to catch even the slightest of change in their data so that we can alert you to it.
Awesome. Good stuff, Ian. How do I email my contacts from my Revaluate account? This is my favorite question.
You don't.
Why not?
No, and anybody who has met with me knows that one of the things that I like to make sure people understand is that our dashboard's not a CRM. It's not a marketing tool. You can't send emails. You can't post to social. You can't do anything flashy or fun from it. It's really just there as a place to exchange information, import contacts, export insights. That being said, whatever you do use for sending your mailers, either we should be integrating directly with it, or you can export a CSV and use that to identify who you need to be working with. If you just use Gmail, no big deal. You can still take and just copy paste the contact into your Gmail. If you have a CRM that we don't currently integrate with directly, use Zapier or let us know. I'm more than happy to reach out to any of the CRMs that you guys are using that you want us to integrate with and try and negotiate something with them so that we can get it built. It's a big part of what I do every day, and we have a handful that are going to be coming down the pipeline in the next couple of months here. So stay tuned, and if your CRM doesn't integrate, let me know so that I can try to get on that for you, because it'll benefit you as well as any of the other clients that we have shared with those particular CRMs. But we're not here to do the implementation part from our system. We're just here to tell you what to do with the systems that you have in place.
And always reach out to me too if you have trouble exporting and importing into another tool or system and you want some help. Always reach out to one of us. And to kind of point on what Ryan said about you can kind of copy and paste into Gmail, just so you guys know, you can also import full lists into Gmail. And if you need help with that, reach out to me too. We are here to help. So let's move on. I have integrated into my CRM. I'm really excited. I see the scores in my CRM. Now what do I do?
Ryan set up a lot of these, so I'm going to let Ryan do that one.
The first thing you need to do is figure out what your strategy is going to be. If you're starting from absolute scratch, then obviously you want to focus on your very likely movers first. So set up a strategy that's going to involve multi-touch, multi-platform outreach and conversion efforts. I'm more than happy to talk one-on-one with anybody who wants to talk about their particular market, their particular messaging. I do not claim to be a messaging expert. There are lots of people who sell lots of different campaigns that are really good at it. We even have some partners that have entire campaigns built out with all of the with all of the content to just plug it right in and send it off to the races. But if you've got good content, you've got stuff in place that you've been doing in the past, like Ian said a moment ago, we're not trying to reinvent the wheel here. We just want to give the wheel a tune-up so you've got the roundest, most well-inflated wheel to get you where you're going as quickly as possible. So take your most aggressive campaign and put that on your very likely movers. If you have never had success with anything other than calling a brand new lead, then it's going to be a little bit of time to get everything built. But take the time to work on the business so that when you're working in the business, you can get the success that you're looking for. But yeah, pick up the phone, send them an email, hit them with retargeting, hit them with postcards. I mean, if I'm an agent and I have a list of people who are showing signs that they're very likely to move, I'm going to hit them with everything I've got in every way I can for the next 3 to 6 months to make sure that when they do move, it's me that they use, not some schmuck who buys their lead off of one of the portals at the right time, because I'm already there and I already know it's coming.
Boom, mic drop. Right there. You're gonna sell me a house, Ryan. You just sold me. I have some new leads that I just had come in. I got a list from my title agent, but I don't have any emails. Can I still use Revaluate?
It depends on what info you do have, but the answer usually is yes. So as long as you have a physical address and a name for us, we can attempt an append on those contacts to try and get some emails. The rate varies. We usually quote 50%. It can vary between markets on how many emails we're able to find. And even if you don't have that information, we can always use Reside to build a farm for you. So the bottom line being that if you don't have your own contacts yet, or you're missing some data on them, whatever the case may be, chances are we have some type of solution for you to get that list built to be monitored in Revaluate.
So reach out. If you have any leads, you have any lists, reach out and we will be happy to help you.
And if for any reason we didn't have specifically what you're looking for, our CEO operates very emphatically on if we get asked 3 times for something, we'll add it. So if you really want something, just ask. I mean, really.
Just call all three of us, and then that'll be 3 phone calls, and then we'll get it for you.
I mean, he does it all the time. The Facebook group was just needing 3 people to say, let's do it. So Reside was just 3 people saying, let's do it. You know, that's how he operates. So show that it's a tool you would like to see added or evaluate. You know, money printing machine would be my suggestion, but your results are different. So
Perfect. I'd kind of like to wrap up with one of the last questions we have today. And the reason I'm going to use this kind of as a wrap up is because it kind of leads into, we had an AMA a while back with Mara Sullivan, who kind of does our industry relations and our social media here. And she's willing to come back and address this question a little bit more. So if the guys want to kind of address it briefly, and then if you guys want to hear more, let us know below, and Mara would be happy to join us. So the question I've been getting a lot recently is, what is a pixel? What is Facebook retargeting? I don't know what any of that is. So we'll talk about the basics here. And if you guys have more questions, let us know. So who wants to dive in?
I can start. So retargeting is just putting your advertisement in front of people that you select in a certain way. Pixeling is not anything that we're involved in, because pixeling a pixel is something that you plant on a website or an advertisement, so that when someone goes to that website, Facebook or Google, whoever you're using for your retargeting, can follow them around the internet to put your ad in front of them wherever they end up being. Most of the pixels don't give you the actual contact information of the person, but if you use them in the right way to advertise by following the people who come to your website or view your ad with another call to action to capture that data, that's a more useful use of the pixels. So if you're doing pixelized retargeting, it should be in an effort to hit them with a message that triggers them to give you their contact information, whatever that is. Where the retargeting that we usually talk about comes in is with custom audience retargeting, which is slightly different. But basically, you can take a CSV file of all your very likely movers and feed it into Facebook. And what Facebook does is they match email address and or cell phone to a Facebook account. So if you think about it, back to bouncing emails. I don't know about anybody else on here, but I set up Facebook in college back when you needed a .edu to have Facebook, and it's still set up with that email address. There sure as hell is no email going to that email address anymore. I don't even want to tell you how long it's been since I was in college. Unlike Ian, I didn't graduate last year. So if you want to retarget to me, you need to know my .edu. That .edu, who knows where that is? I mean, but the point being, as long as they can match either email or cell phone to a correlating Facebook account, then they'll deliver your ad to that person. And so many of our clients will use our score as the trigger to know who to spend the money in a custom audience to retarget to, or you can retarget to everybody and then use our score to correlate to which people need to get more communication once they trigger an alert by way of the pixel. The other cool thing about pixels, just on the topic, and then I'll shut up, is that a lot of the CRMs that you guys use have a pixel that you can put on your website so that they will track that person coming to the website, time on the website, where they've clicked, where they've looked, and all of that stuff. And if you're not utilizing that, then you're leaving a lot of money on the table, because it can provide a lot of really cool behavioral engagement-based insights on the people in your database as well.
Mm-hmm. I'm just getting, that was such a great answer, Ryan. Thank you. I'm just getting a lot of those basic questions. So listen to what Ryan said, really utilize that. And if you guys want to dig in more and learn more about it, just let us know, and we'd be happy to bring Mara back. She would be excited to join you guys again. Ian, do you have anything else you want to add to today's topic?
What Ryan said.
What Ryan said. Everybody listen to Ryan, and you'll be successful.
I'll be less a whole answer next time, so that you can chime in.
Perfect. All right, guys. Well, I hope you guys have an excellent rest of your week. Hopefully we have some more exciting news to share with you. Next Tuesday, Ryan will be back and fresh from Fargo. He can share how the event went. I hope we get to see some of you guys there. Have an excellent week, and we will catch you guys again here, same time, same place, next week. Take care. Bye-bye.